Hello, welcome to the garden. It's Anna. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, thank you so much for watching. Today I am jumping out here to do a couple quick things. We're in a pretty hot, humid summer day, so I'm trying not to spend too much time outside, but I think it's time to top the tomato plants. This has been a hard decision, but I think the time has come, and I think it's actually going to help my tomato harvest. And yeah, let me show you what I'm doing. So here is the main tomato growing area. I've come in and taken out a lot of the diseased leaves. There's still a couple that I missed, but I've been taking out any leaves that are starting to look like this and trying to keep my plants pretty, disease free and just happy and healthy. Here in Virginia, it is hot, it is humid, and as we get into this August season, it gets hard to keep the tomato plants healthy. And even you'll see with the heat, like they don't set fruit. They just flower and they don't even set any fruit. But they do have a lot of other gorgeous fruit on the plants here that is ripening, and I actually just pulled off a nice big ripe tomato the other day, so there is still a lot of production on there. I do find that the cherry tomatoes and like these Juliet tomatoes that I have over here that are more the saladette size, I find that they really produce and do pretty well throughout even this hot time of year, but some of my bigger, like more slicer tomatoes, they kind of definitely have a harder time setting fruit in the heat. We are also getting into August, and so I'm starting to think about the fall garden, which I have really mixed feelings about because I'm both excited for fall and not ready for fall. But I am going to be putting fall crops into this bed, and so I just need these plants to ripen the fruit that they have and kind of focus on that and not try to set fruit that they can't even get the flowers to produce. And so what I am going to do is come in and I'm just going to cut the tops of the plants off to sort of stop this upward growth on most of them. And then they will focus more energy on ripening the fruit that they have down here. Of course, they will still put off these little suckers, which if you let grow will continue to grow up and create more plants, and so I do have to kind of monitor that, otherwise they'll just continue to bush out and the topping won't really do a whole lot, but if I keep on top of that and I keep on top of pruning, then it'll just really focus and force them to ripen all of this beautiful fruit that they have on the plant. Now I am not going to top my Juliet tomatoes because they are making their way up to the top of the arch, and I am so excited about that, and that is what I want. And I actually might train, okay, this guy I need to help guide onto the arch. So I need to guide this one back to the arch, but I may train a couple of these over to the arch to see if I can get some fruit production. But the plants over here, I'm gonna go ahead and just top because I'm just done with that. I know this can be hard to do. It can be hard to watch. Here we go, ready? We're just gonna snip off the top. And that's all there is to it. And I'm gonna snip off the top of this sucker. I'm sorry. There we go. Now, I am surprised that I'm even doing this at all. If you followed my journey with these tomato plants, when I bought them, and I did get them as starts from a big box store, they said that they were determinate. So usually determinate tomatoes will grow a certain height, like these were supposed to be 3 or 4 feet, and then stop. Mine have definitely reached the 4-foot size and not stopped. So I don't know what's going on. I don't quite understand that. I'm not worrying about it. I'm just treating them like I would an indeterminate one that just grows and grows and grows, like the Juliets. And I'm just not gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna top it and say, hey, focus on your fruit. Let's get this done. And then I'll be able to move the season along and move on to the fall. So there they are, all topped up. It looks a little bit to me like, they got a haircut, and I'm gonna have to get used to it a little bit. But I think it's definitely for the best. And now I just turned on the drip system, and I'm gonna give them a good drink of water to make sure that they're happy and have all of the water that they need. And I'm just gonna kind of keep an eye on them, and as I said, keep pruning out dead leaves and keeping an eye on the suckers. And that's that's the whole tomato topping process. Necessary, kind of sad, kind of like my prep for fall. I'm also looking at a few other things in the garden. I noticed one of my zucchinis over here that had been producing really well. I just pulled a zucchini off of it, but it's totally been wilting in this heat. The heat is really getting to some of these plants, and I think it's getting to my squash. I may end up having to come in with, I started a few squash, but like even more of a second round of squash in some of these areas. It's kind of just starting to be that time in the garden. We're starting to get into the fade out of the full production part and into the fall garden and transition, which is, yeah, just wild. It's amazing how fast, like, where did July go? Here we are. But I'm excited for a lot of tomatoes this month. And let me show you my other fall tomatoes because they're looking really good. So this is my zucchini plant that has been an all-star that's just suffering in this hot weather. It's in a grow bag, and I don't know if it's just like done and ready to, I don't know, ready to be done for the season. I think I'm gonna pop in some more seeds and do a second round of zucchini in that grow bag for the fall. I hadn't been planning on it, but yeah, I don't know. The heat has just hit it hard. Even though I've got 2 emitters in there, I'm trying to give it as much water as I possibly can. But in front of it over here, I have my beautiful tomatoes for the fall garden. And so these are just kicking into gear. Oop, I've got ground cherries in my hand too. These are going to be beautiful tomatoes for the fall season, and so these plants are just taking off. Look how healthy they look so good. I went ahead and let it split into 2 suckers because I always get greedy with tomatoes and I just want all of the tomatoes. But it is got some flowers on it. We'll see if it can set fruit in these temperatures. Hopefully it can. Some nice fresh looking flowers up here. Hopefully those will do well. And then my other one is this guy over here, which is, I think there's actually 2 tomato plants in here, but another beefsteak tomato and looking really good. Nice fresh flowers. This one gets a little bit more shade. So I'm actually gonna be kind of curious to see, they're both pretty much full sun, but this one gets just afternoon sun, really, like full 6 hours in the afternoon. So I'm actually really curious to see if it'll do better in the fall garden than the one that's in the full total full sun all the way through like August and September. It'll just kind of be a little bit of an experiment. I'm very curious about that. But yeah, I'm just gonna water now. Make sure everything has something to drink because it is so hot out, and I'm gonna keep the drip system going. Thank you so much for hanging out in the garden with me and doing a little bit of care for the lovely tomatoes. I hope you're having a great day in your garden, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.